I love it when my mic peaks. It's amazing. All right, so I think we are ready to rock and roll. Please, a warm welcome in chat for Jammitch.
Good time zone, everybody. My name's Jammitch. I'm here with Shinji16 on comms.
Hello, evening, everybody, or whatever part of the world you might be in.
And I am very happy to present to you Crossbeats REV Sunrise. So we've had this on Fastest First once before. We're doing an actual literal rhythm game speed run then. Today we're just going to do a little more of a showcase. So I want you to get those jam emotes ready. You're going to be giving them a workout for the rest of the session. So,
Jammitch, can I ask you a quick question before we start officially?
Sure.
Jammitch, do you have a sandwich?
Not really. Not exactly a TF2 heavy over here.
Well, I'll go get you a sandwich while you rock and roll.
I don't want to eat too much. We got some food songs coming up.
I was gonna say, as years of being a medic, I can definitely appreciate a sandwich. But yeah, let's get started. And again, wonderful to have you all here, everybody.
Okay. So, I'm just going to dive right into the game. If you've seen rhythm games, you probably have an idea what's going to go on. But I'm going to dive right in, and we're going to let Shinji kind of walk you through the basics. And we're going to start with Break the Wall.
Okay, so as we get into this showcase, first off, if you folks are familiar with music games, some of this might seem familiar, some of it very much may not. I've been playing music games myself for a couple decades, and high-level play of this game still looks like sorcery to me. But a lot of great music, a lot of incredibly fun gameplay. But one thing to keep in mind, what we're going to be seeing is mainly charts and gameplay that are aimed at players that are pretty well entrenched in this. So it might look intimidating or off-putting. Please don't let this scare you. Over the next few songs, I'll be giving a general introduction to the game, but also keeping an eye on chat for any questions. And speaking of, if folks do have questions, please don't be afraid to ask. Helping folks get either more involved with crossbeats or music games in general, huge passion for both Jammitch and myself. So I do see Jason in chat saying, "Oh, huge touchscreens! What's up with that monitor?" So yeah, the arcade cabinet for this game, you're looking at it essentially. Jammitch is actually playing on an arcade cabinet version of Crossbeats. It is essentially a giant tablet. It is a touchscreen interface for the game, and there was also a version of it that came out on iPads as well.
.32-inch touchscreen right here.
Yeah, so talking about the game in regards to when it came out, so it originally came out at the end of 2013, or that was when the iOS version came out. And then a couple of years later, in 2015, the arcade version debuted. Unfortunately, the game shut down 3 years later in 2018, but there is a version of the arcade where you can change between arcade or tablet in regards to how the notes are spaced. So if you started off and are used to tablet, you can quite literally translate that onto playing in the arcade.
Yep. You're going to see me playing mostly on tablet size because it lets me get my fingers to things quicker, keeps them closer, lets me use wider range of hand motion rather than having to go all the way off to the corners of the screen.
Yeah, so with tablet mode, it does bring things in closer, so there's less in the peripheral, things are potentially easier to hit. But some notes, especially on songs where there's chords, like multiple inputs at the same time, that are really heavily clustered together, like in terms of spacing. Sometimes just going with the arcade spacing is easier, just for the sake of literally having the game register all of your fingers being that close to one another. So, getting a little bit more into the gameplay itself, it is a timing-based game. Folks that might be more familiar with Guitar Hero and Rock Band, where it's just either you hit it or you don't. This is a judgment-based, like DDR and most other rhythm games. The more accurate you are, the better your judgment. In this case, we're hoping for flawlesses, and you're only seeing flawlesses because Jammitch, I've heard he's decent at this game. But typical music game mentality, hit it on beat, a life bar or groove gauge goes up. Get it off beat, groove gauge goes down. Unlike a lot of music games, if at the end of the song you have any amount of your gauge remaining, that's all we need to pass. Interestingly though, if you empty out, song doesn't end. In fact, you can actually go into negative life bar and you might have to regain it back before the song ends. We're not going to be dealing with failing engages too much in this showcase. As for the types of notes, there's 3 types mainly. There's tap notes, and some of those are you're hitting them at the same time as other notes. That's what those yellow hexagons you're seeing on some of the notes are, to indicate, hey, you're hitting multiple things at once. There are holds, which speak for themselves. You have to hold the note down until a certain amount of time has passed. And then probably most interestingly are the flick notes. Those are the ones that look like mini green arrows. In addition to hitting them and moving in a direction, you also have to do it with a certain degree of timing. And depending on how they're arranged, you can get some really interesting patterns or quite literal motions you have to do with your hands or fingers.
Not too bad. Okay, now we're going to get to my second favorite song in the entire game, which it actually just magically selected for me at random, I guess. If you want to know what my first favorite song is, you got to hang around for another hour and a half or so. But I'm going to do Strayer by Taishi. I adore this song. It's just some amazing trance. So yeah, get those jam emotes out.
And speaking a little bit more to the music in this game, for folks that are familiar with Dance Dance Revolution or maybe other games in the Bimani series by Konami, like 2DX or Dance Rush Stardom, Naoki, the heart and soul of DDR in its early years, was not only a huge composer for this game, but also the director. After leaving Konami years ago, this was his next big project. And after Crossbeats' unfortunately early demise, Naoki then went on to do Seven's Code, which was also a very popular music game on mobile platforms. And more recently, he's been more of a freelance artist, but I'd say that this and Seven's Code were his most recent actual projects where he was both a director and composer. But in addition to Naoki, there are some other artists that you might be familiar with if you play a lot of music games, such as Slate, Tash, in addition to Iosis, Mausen, and a lot of other familiar names. Song library in this game is incredible, even though it's one of the only music games by Capcom. In addition to having a lot of great artists, a lot of great music to pull from, both in terms of originals and also remixes too. A lot of Street Fighter remixes, some Ace Attorney, just incredible song library.
One combo break in the first 3 songs is not too shabby. Alright, so we can't have a Fastest Furs event without having a little bit of a furry themed block, right? I was thinking about, can I do an entire set list? I couldn't. There wasn't enough to make it work, but we're gonna do a special furry theme credit just for all of you. And we're going to start out by saying hi to a couple of rabbits as they try to catch the last prey. I'll actually turn the video brightness up for this one so that you can actually kind of watch the video a bit. And you'll also kind of see why I usually turn it down, because it actually makes things a lot harder to read. But we'll turn the video brightness all the way up for this one.
I was going to mention, like, I believe this and maybe like one other song in this set is one of the few times where you're going to have the video brightness up, correct?
Yeah, I just find it harder to pick the notes out, so I usually turn the video brightness all the way down so the notes pop, because I'm more focused on playing the game than watching the videos.
Yeah, and speaking of visuals, if more of chat is paying attention because of the video on this song, there is a lot of visual noise in this game, like the note hits and this note previews coming in. It can seem flashy, but it's something that you can quickly get used to. And one thing I do want to mention at some point, you'll notice that for all of the note previews, they're coming in on these crosses, something either perfectly vertical and horizontal or on both diagonals. That's part of, I think, of why crossbeats, crosses, made it as good of a touchscreen game as it was. In addition to the charts just being really well made, both in terms of anticipating kind of where and how things are going to be flowing, and just the fact that they're fun to play. Which some other touchscreen games around that time period, such as like Re-Rave, Beatstream, and a few others, didn't really quite stick the landing, in my opinion. Again, horrendous tragedy that this game didn't do better or last longer.
It end rolls so fast. 210 BPM, 16th note. Among the fastest in this game. Although for a Beatmania player, it's probably not that much. Okay, so up next we have Higo. This is gonna be the hardest song we've played so far. It's an 84 on a 99-point scale, although really it's a 90-point scale, and the last couple songs are just kind of, they aren't good charts, they're just kind of gimmicky.
Yeah, because for the 99, that was the final boss song of the game, and it's not really a 100 per se, but you said there's roughly 10 or 15 songs that actually do dip into the high 70s and low 80s for difficulty?
There's a bunch in the high 80s, but there's like 5 that are 90 or up. Anyway, what's interesting about this song is our first song with speed changes, if you want to go into that a little bit.
So, with some music games, they'll have what's called soft land, which is a abbreviation of soft landing on the body, because years ago in Beatmania, there was a song, Soft Landing on the Body, where partway through, there was a huge jump in BPM, and as such, a huge jump in scroll speed, to the point where it seemed kind of gimmicky or more of like a gotcha against the player if you didn't know about it in advance. So while Crossbeats doesn't really have soft land per se, the preview, so when you have a warning of when a note is appearing on the screen from where to you're actually hitting it, that is determined by the BPM of the song and your speed mod in regards to if you've deliberately sped that up or slowed it down. So this song does have a bit of a jump at one point. You'll notice the notes suddenly start appearing much more rapidly or less so compared to how they were a couple seconds ago. That's soft land. It's not too prevalent in Crossbeats, but there are a few songs that you do need to be wary of it. And I do see a couple folks in chat mentioning about the speed. Crash specifically mentioning, I don't have the brain power to process what's happening. Again, do want to mention, what we're looking at here, these are not the charts you'd be starting off with. Like, this is hours and hours of practice. Crossbeats, along with any other music game, has tons of content aimed at folks that are just getting started, so don't let the hand wizardry that we're looking at from Jammitch intimidate you. If you like the music you're hearing, or if this looks fun to you, join in, ask questions, because you can get into it, and you can have fun with it. And look at that FC! Like it was nothing! Wonderful job, Jammitch.
It's a hard song. Not that hard to full combo relative to its difficulty, but it is really hard to time. Okay. Now, this song's a little bit lower rated, but I personally think it's a lot harder. So to finish off the furry block, we're gonna go with Firefox, which is a bit more of an experimental techno piece. And one I'm not going to full combo, I will guarantee you that. But we'll do our best.
Shinji Jammitch is going to jump in really quickly to say thank you to Jason LaRose for the $32 donation, saying, hello, cute chat. Thank you, Jason, for bringing us closer to $2,250. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And again, I believe I mentioned this at the start of the stream, but again, wonderful to have all of you here. Whether you've been donating throughout the event, you're just chilling and vibing in chat, or you've been helping spread the word. And again, thank you, Fastest First, for having this event. I mean, Trans Lifeline is an amazing cause. And now, talking about timing, which Jammitch mentioned that on that last song that the timing was trickier more than anything. To talk about that, with timing-based or judgment-based music games, that is usually something to mention. 2DX being probably the strictest out there. For the ideal rating, a flashing great, it's a roughly 2-frame window, so 2 frames before or 2 frames after. The flawless in crossbeats, we're not 100% sure, but it is a little bit looser, so it might be a roughly 3 or 4 frame window, giving you 6 or 8 frames total. So again, every one of these hits, think of it as doing like a 3 to 4 frame input, be it very much audio assisted. And it can seem narrow, but again, with practice, you hit the button over and over and over on time, and again, with the quote-unquote audio assist, it is easier than you think. Like, it is still difficult and takes practice, but not as impossible or as, how much practice you're gonna have to put into it than you might think.
And here we're gonna listen for an audio cue, followed by another audio cue, followed by another couple hundred audio cues.
Yeah, it's just, a couple of, 100 audio cues per minute. I think that's one of my favorite things about this game is for some of the patterns when it gets symmetrical and your hands are just mirroring one another, it just visually and physically seems really satisfying to execute.
Oh yeah, that's one of the things I love about the modern crop of rhythm games. I mean, don't get me wrong, been a big 2DX fan for 20-something years, but modern rhythm games have so much more motion to them, and I really like that about them. And like the one I've got this meme shirt on, Chrono Circle, is one of the brand new ones, and it's got this giant wheel you spin, and I just love the motion of it all.
Yeah, with older music games, there's a lot of you're just kind of standing there and literally hitting buttons. But with newer ones, like Sound Voltex, has you often changing your stance or your entire positioning. And then, yeah, like crossbeats, you are quite literally all over the place. And yeah, Chrono Circle is the weirdest mixture of a washing machine and grandfather clock I've seen in quite some time. But you have a lot more motion, and it's incredibly fun to do.
We got a little bit of a Toho block here.
I was about to say someone in chat did pick up on that.
We lost most of the licenses when the game went offline, but we kept the Toho.
Yeah, and it is worth mentioning that while unfortunately the game did go offline, luckily the arcade machine is still playable. Some newer music games that have network interfacing for like saving scores or unlocking events, if they're offline, you just can't play them, period. Luckily for crossbeats, if you do have a machine and the hardware, you can still play it, and there isn't a whole lot of content that's lost, if I remember correctly. Like there's some that's still exclusive to the iPad or iOS version, but it's not a giant brick sitting in your home either.
The iOS version is dead though.
And I believe the same is for Seven's Code, which went offline roughly this time last year, if I remember correctly.
It was like July? It's a little more recent than that.
Oh yeah, that was summer of this year. For some reason, I thought it was summer of 2021.
A little bit of an overlapping issue there. It's actually difficult to talk while playing this. Let's see here. So yeah, so we started with this one. Somebody calls FedEx because this song is about shipping and your shipment is ready. I'm gonna follow this up with what is probably my favorite of the Touhou charts in this game. We heard Akatsuki Records with Break the Wall to start off the set. I just love the chart design on this one though. And yep, we got enough songs. We're gonna get 3 Touhous in there.
On the one hand, like, I'm not surprised at the prevalence of Touhou in more recent music games, relatively speaking, just because, you know, it is good music for the most part. But then also thinking about Zune and his typical composition, like, there's a lot going on. So there's actual things to make note charts for, like there's activity to have a player engage with per se. So I'm not too surprised about that. And then, you know, of course, there are a lot of Touhou songs that have become meme lords as well, so.
Yeah, when I went to Tokyo, went to one of the shops in Akiba, they had an entire floor dedicated to Touhou Doji music.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. Yeah, like even with 2DX, which has been stalwart for decades on pretty much being almost all original music with literally like 5% less of being licenses, has recently started to see some Touhou remixes creep in. And yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing, but oh boy, there's a lot of it out there, and it's definitely spreading and prevailing, to put it briefly.
Yeah, it's hardly a modern rhythm game without like 50 Touhou songs anymore. That's also, yeah, super cheap to license, as KNH points out.
Yeah, potentially, like, depending on the artist that's remixing it. But yeah, given the blessing from Zune for use as you see fit, that does help too. It's not quite as free as classical music, but close.
So, of course, if we have Touhou, we have ARM, right?
ARM and Iosis.
Yep, of course we're gonna play Baka Baka. No, we're not. That's extremely too predictable. Instead, it's about dinner time, so let's all go out for yakiniku, my treat.
I love that bait and switch. Also, Moonblaze saying that this is so impressive. I agree. Like, I've been playing music games for about 20 years at this point, and anytime I'm watching high-level play of a game that I don't actively play myself, like, it always looks like black magic and sorcery, and to a degree I'm able to visually follow and keep up, but there are some points where I am just kind of like sitting back and just vibing because, yeah, I honestly cannot quite keep up with it at all.
Play doubles on 2DX.
I mean, that's a different kind of silliness. But again, just to stress from earlier, if you're enjoying the music, if what you're seeing looks like it could be fun, don't let that stop you. Again, all music games like this have lots of content aimed at folks that are just getting into it, or even folks that might just be a fan of what's in it musically or from a license perspective. One of the best decisions, I think, for both pop and music and Taiko, they regularly have tons of pop song licenses, anime and TV show song themes, so that the regular passerby, even though they're not doing the super high level silliness and absurdity that we're seeing here, they can jump in, hit buttons, or whack things with sticks, whatever the game might be, and have a good time. Same goes with crossbeats. Same goes with 2DX. So if you're enjoying what you're hearing or you like what you're seeing, don't let anything else deter you from potentially checking it out.
That was one combo break? I've only full comboed that one once, so really happy to get that kind of score on the marathon.
And quickly talking about score, so I see that you had a score of like 60,000 and like 50,000 on all of these. Is that score based out of an absolute of like 1 million?
So the way the scoring works is a flawless is 100 points, super is 50, a cool is 10, and they just add up. So it really is a good encapsulation of your timing looking at the numerical score.
So a perfect play on different songs could be a different score. It's not like how with DDR aggregates it out of a percentage, for example.
Correct.
Right. But it is worth mentioning that the notes are a flat scoring. Combo doesn't really go into it. It's just the judgment you got on individual notes, and then over the total. Correct?
Yeah, it's just like the numerical score is just based on your judgments. All right, so we're coming up to a little bit of a special section of the marathon. I pulled out a bunch of songs. They like the songs, but I'm pulling these next 3 credits out to show off the charts. I want to show what goes into the design of this game. And this song, what's special about this song is the second half of it, you're going to see me doing a lot of holds. You're going to see my hands kind of like held down on the screen and playing Twister with my fingers. This is one of my absolute favorite charts.
Yeah, so if folks have been kind of just like kicking back and just like enjoying the music, I do not blame you, but this is a good time to visually try to pay close attention, because we're going to be seeing some really interesting things coming up chart-wise. And again, for this song, it's roughly the second half of the song where the holds get incredibly intense. In regards to us discussing all of the different music games out there, I see Beat Fizzle mentioning, and then there's Trombone Champ. I adore that game for a variety of reasons, but that is a different kind of energy than what a lot of other music games have. But yeah, power to the trombone.
Here are these holds.
I was about to mention.
Late flub notwithstanding, that's actually one of the easiest songs to time in the game.
Ooh, amazing full combo.
I'm more likely to break combo on that than I am to get 10 pools.
Now, one thing I do notice, not just necessarily with that chart, although that was a great example, is similar to like doubles in 2DX. Often, if one hand has the drums, like kick, snare, to put it briefly, the other hand will then take on the melody or something that's got different polyrhythms or subrhythms.
Yep, table that thought for one more song. But right now we're going to do Iroha, which I want you to pay attention in the second half of the song. I have these patterns that I call meshes, where my hands are going to intertwine and then open up to follow some flick notes.
Yeah, I remember asking Jammitch if he could better explain meshes, and he replied, better if I just show you. And I agree, this is something incredibly unique.
Also, absolutely banger.
Yeah, I think that could be said for a lot of the songs too. Like, again, the song library in this is incredibly solid.
Very little more satisfying than releasing from the holds onto the flicks and seeing 4 flawlesses on the screen. Here they come.
Just absolutely fascinating. So it's a bunch of group chords with both hands, and they both move while at the same time, but it's with a staggered rhythm in separate directions. Just, again, incredibly unique, and it looks so much fun to execute.
See, they're a little paradoxical because I always say they're easier than they look, but they're also almost impossible to do right. You can
Because
get
of the
almost,
timing?
You get just because of how close they are. You can get every note but one really consistently, but there's always that one in there that likes to break your combo.
And Jason brings up an interesting point. Each time I watch one of these music game streams, I can't help but wonder how much time they had to spend getting the cameras and audio synced up so well. For some music games, it's incredibly easy, actually, but in some situations, it can be very difficult, especially if you're streaming off of quote-unquote original hardware. Like, some music games have come out for PC. Like myself, I stream a whole line of made-for-PC games by Konami, the Knost series. But Jammitch is playing on an arcade machine, and those machines, if they're not meant to be outputting their audio differently or their video differently, wrangling with them just for that alone, let alone trying to sync up anything else, can be quite a nightmare.
So you were talking about polyrhythms a moment ago. So what you're going to see real soon is that my left hand's going to start playing a drum beat that goes kind of 1-3-2-3. I can't do it now because I'll mess up my timing. And then we're going to have the other hand playing the entire melody and then eventually start playing all the vocals.
Yeah, so some charts... Yeah, some charts can be...
Picking up the vocals here.
I was gonna say, some charts are difficult just because of different patterns or really difficult, like, literally to physically execute. And then sometimes it's just how much rhythm can you literally juggle? And this is that kind of juggling. Kick, snare on that left hand, and then the right hand kind of doing its own thing.
That flick pad is really tough to not activate too early. It happened to me twice this play.
I see Jason mentioning drum and bass, and why, yes, it is 174 BPM. Huge DMB stan myself. Just amazing material and such great execution on these charts. Again, Jammitch, incredibly high-level play here.
So up next, we have a song that's pretty notorious among the community, Satellite System. This song just has some of the most ridiculous rhythms in the game. And it also has some of the most ridiculous chords in the game. It ends with a series of 4-note chords that just go all over the place. It's also one of the more experimental tracks. I think the last one I had that I thought was kind of in that vein was Firefox. This is definitely going to be a bit more the experimental techno.
Now, when you say rhythms, like, just to be clear, with that last song, it was more that, hey, one hand is doing one steady beat while the other hand is doing a slightly different beat. Here, the entire chart's going to be changing. Like, we might be doing 16th notes one moment, then odd triplets the next. Rhythmically, it is just going to be all over the place. And then, yeah, lots of chords to cap it off.
はるか昔、GM という小さな星にダイアナという女王がいた。輝かしき祖先たちの徳の力と代々絶えることなく一筋に受け継がれたサテライトシステムによって高位に上った。
Those synth lines are so delicious.
Part just looks cool.
Yeah, I was trying not to comment for a bit just so that way chat could more easily hear the differences in rhythm, but yeah, this chart is just visually stunning. Here's all of those chords. And those ending jackhammers right at the end, I think, highlight one of my also favorite things about this, is that the note previews quite literally rotate if the note is still in place. Like, on the one hand, it helps you indicate, hey, multiple taps here, but also just visually, it's just wonderful.
Yep, that's a choice on the chart designer. I definitely prefer the ones where they do give you that affordance. We'll see some later where they're just completely hidden, which you kind of just gotta learn them. Okay,
yeah,
up next.
Just wanted to lead into that. Like, some of these charts have a lot of artistic decisions getting made, and it's just wonderful to see.
So up next, we have some wobbles. The wobbles are going to lead to a lot of flick notes. This kind of music is just amazing for this game. So watch the back and forth on the flick notes and the directions we got to go on this one.
So again, remember, with flick notes, it's not only just making sure you're hitting and then moving in a certain direction, that timing is still coming into play. So when there's lines of flick notes, you have to be really precise in how you're moving across. But then with some of these chains we're about to see, it's not really about moving precisely as it is to rapidly vibrating. But yeah, talking about that last song, Savage mentions from triplets to 16s and back, that's amazing. Yeah, again, the actual execution at higher tiers, like once you have gotten used to a game and knowing, oh, this visual things means do this action, you can get some incredible interaction with the music as a result. And I think that's one of the reasons these games have always done so well. If you like the music, you just get that much closer to it, and like, what's not to love? And you'll notice at the ends of some of those flick chains, the very last note is in the opposite direction. So it means that you're rapidly ripping in one direction and then have to cut back or snap back.
Such a joy to play. Hard to time though, again, because the flick chains are by far the most difficult thing to mediate in the entire game.
Because it's not just moving in the direction you need to, but at the literal pace the chain wants you to for hitting each individual note with the timing you would need. And, oh yeah, amazing full combo. You know, oh yeah, I'm just doing a showcase, no big deal. Amazing play, Jammitch. Cannot stress that enough for folks watching. Again, we are seeing some high-level charts here, but, you know, not to try to flatter and or embarrass him, but Jammitch, best players outside of Japan.
So you'll see I put this one back on arcade size because this one's going to have a lot of overlapping notes, otherwise known as jackhammers, and I need to spread them out a bit more so I can interact with them better.
So by being on arcade size, in addition to the notes literally being larger visually, they are going to be using the entirety of the touchscreen. Makes sense. Tablet is smaller in the center. Arcade uses the whole thing. But like for that really rapid taps we just had on right side, being able to use both fingers, if you tried doing that on tablet, the literal hitbox you're trying to hit is going to be smaller. Whereas on arcade, it's bigger and makes those rapid taps much easier. There aren't many times where at high level play you're going to want to use arcade as opposed to tablet, but this song is absolutely one of them.
You can do it on tablet, but your fingers tend to overlap and not get counted as 2 fingers. But I also have to be very careful to position my fingers in opposite corners of the note hitbox in cases like that as well.
Yeah, so you can kind of like edge your way into it, almost kind of like the way some folks will use a bracket, the edge of the brackets in DDR or Pump It Up. So Jason in chat mentioning this reminds them of mods from the 90s. For me, I was just about to say, this song and this section specifically always gives me so many flashbacks to 2DX, because this is DJ Murasama, an alias of Tash, who has a whole series of songs that sound very similar to this song. And that's not a complaint. It's amazing work.
Okay, so this next song, what I want to highlight to this is this is gonna be locking my hand in position while making me do a bunch of moving flick chords on the other hand. It's actually pretty difficult, but it's really, really entertaining. It should be fun to watch. Except that the literal end of this chart is, as far as I can tell, literally impossible. I don't think it actually is, but I can't do it. Anyway, this song is called Furt Love. Wait, First Love. Let me get that right. Can I get some Furts in chat?
And speaking of chat, I was actually about to mention, as we made our way into the last set of interesting charts, thank you all for being here. Again, for folks that have been helping donate, helping out Trans Lifeline, or if you've all been just vibing and enjoying these amazing songs and otherwise helping this event be a wonderful weekend, thank you all for being here.
Also, shout out to Bronzo.
So as where Satellite System had a lot of grouped chords towards the end, this is just going to be having a lot of chords throughout, in addition to lots of other silliness going on.
Rhythms are not the hard part in this, emotion.
I was just going to say, like, on right hand, the fact that you're doing those 2-note flick chords that are oscillating directions, just making it look so effortless, and I know that is not the case. But here we have that section that Jammitch was talking about, where hands kind of get locked in place, and you have to quite literally rotate and pivot to then hit everything else that's coming in, orbiting those holds.
Now my left hand's going to be locked on the bottom, and the right's going to do everything else. You're ready for the literally impossible ending. I don't know how they want you to do that zigzag. It's too fast, too sideways.
And again, if you didn't catch it, chat, I don't blame you. Right at the end there, those two going up and down, those were left, right, left, right, left, right flick chains. Like, unless you are both rapidly and perfectly zigzagging as you move your hand up and down, there's no way you're going to be getting all of those. Like, yeah, that is easy to execute in theory, but, like, actually doing it, another story entirely. Now, this next track, because we are doing interesting charts, this has the longest hold in the game, if I remember correctly, on a left hand, starting about halfway through, correct?
Yep. I'm going to have to do a hold on one hand while playing a drum rhythm on that same hand, and playing a synth on the other hand. Here we also have basically invisible jackhammers.
All that back and forth from the vocals to the bass drops, just wonderful work. But then again, Ping Pong, a B-Money veteran, no surprise. So again, that left hand holding while still doing the drums, with the right hand jumping in for occasional chords and hits. So much great multitasking.
Okay, so this is the last chart in the charting block. This song is called Actual Reverse, and basically the first half of it throws everything at you. Everything you need for high 70s, it throws at you, and it makes you prove that you can do all of it if you want to play 80s. I call that section the scramble, and then the second half of the song actually backs off quite a bit. Also, just some excellent kind of faux symphonic thing going on here.
Yeah, so in addition to being a bit frenetic, both in terms of the rhythms going on, it's also the actual patterns. Like, there's a mixture of chords, holds, slide chains, flick chains. Like, it is all over the place.
Jackhammers, one-handed rolls, triplets, got everything.
Yeah, very much a skill check song. A lot of music games tend to have that one song or that one chart that's like, hey, if you can do this, you've definitely made it as a X player. Yeah, this definitely qualifies for Crossbeats as that song. Whew. Just an absolutely brutal front half to that song.
I would just get to chill out and enjoy it.
And a lot of folks have been really enjoying the showcase, either just for the visual onslaught or the good music, or both. Most recently, Kai303 saying absolutely killing the showcase. And again, amazing play here from Jammitch. But if this looks like something that might be up your alley, please don't be afraid to ask questions. That's one thing Jammitch and I have always been huge on, is helping folks get into various music games or parts of the music game community. Just exceptional play, Jammitch, and that wraps up the relatively tricky part of the showcase, correct?
I wouldn't say that. We got lots of tricky to go, but it wraps up the part of the showcase where I wanted to highlight charts, and now I think we are just going to jam out for a little while. Yeah. So,
well, that's why I said tricky, not necessarily the hardest part, the trickiest part. and speaking of, we've got roughly 20 minutes left in the showcase, and yeah, getting some vibes on at this point, not a bad idea, especially after, I'm gonna just say it bluntly, after showing off a bit, yeah, having some vibes to jam out to. Let's go.
I think we got a little longer than that. We got an hour and a half, right? Anyway.
Oh yeah, I mismanaged my timer. Shame on me. Yeah, we're about roughly 40 minutes out. Mea culpa.
All right.
Jammitch, Shinji, can I cut in real quick?
Absolutely.
All right, we got donations from Joe Enforcer, $20, saying, "Go Jammitch, try the unlimited TM." That might be trademark, I'm not sure.
Yeah. So Joe's another Crossbeats cab owner, and I'm always pushing people to try to push their skills. So I tell them, try the unlimited, go up to purple, push yourself. So that's my brand.
Nice. And we got a $50 donation from Tetra saying, "Go Jammitch."
Thank you so much, Tetra. And also, again, Fastest Furs, so much for having us here. And yeah, Fox, thank you for being such a gracious host. If there isn't something that Jammitch and I have specifically called out, if we aren't just otherwise vibing, do feel free to jump in if there are any donations.
Absolutely. I'm loving the show right now. This is amazing.
Honestly, half of it for me, because I have commented for Jammitch before for this game, half of it for me is being able to help share and spread his joy of this game and just listen to some great music. And then half of it also for me is just kicking back and quite literally watching the fireworks. Again, I cannot stress how visually amazing this game is.
I believe it. Who needs 4th of July when he can have this show?
Exactly. And yeah, a couple folks in chat mentioning that we're just breaking 2,300. Look at what you did. Look at what you did, chat. That's all your fault.
I'd like to challenge chat to get to 2,500 for the end of the showcase.
That should be doable, but I'll be the villain in the room and doubt your capabilities, chat. Prove me wrong. Do what you won't.
Yeah.
Now,
thank you for those donations, Tetra and Joe.
And again, whether you're donating or you are just lurking and vibing or helping hype up either chat or the internet in general, thank you all so much. A couple folks in chat, Moonblaze and Jason, are asking, do your fingers hurt yet, or does your back hurt yet? I know for some music games, like, yeah, posture and like health for like RSI and things like that is a factor. I have actually really asked about it myself for Crossbeats. Like, what is that situation like?
I'll go first. The most likely thing to happen to my fingers is those slides to kind of wear at my index finger nails, way more so than the taps.
Yeah, I was gonna say it likely seemed to be more the back, because it seems that you're either slightly hunching over or power stancing, or both. Is that correct?
Yep.
And
for kind of made for people a little shorter than me.
And for folks that might not be familiar with that, power stancing is when you stand really with your legs really widespread. Like, don't even think like horseback riding, but like even more so. It could be to your left and right, or depending on the game, forwards and back behind you, with the intention of just literally lowering your center of gravity so you can just lower yourself more to the controls or the interface, so you avoid having a really bad wrist bend or arm bend, and then, you know, preventing RSI and all sorts of other kind of nastiness. But yeah, from what I could see and from my own guessing, I would imagine a mixture of that power stancing and having to be slightly bent over is probably the more quicker culprit for issues with this game than necessarily the impact of the repeated tapping. But yeah, the slides could get gnarly as well, but you'll see Jammitch frequently wiping the screen to help with that between songs. Also, Audio Coaster, wonderful to see you, a fellow beach crosser. I forgot how upbeat and lighthearted that song was. I'm so used to so much of the library of this game either being more on the like trance or dubstep style of things. That was delightful.
I mean, that's because that's what I tend to prefer. But I do actually really like this one for a J-Poppy song. Another good one is Seke no Hate, but that's not going to show up in this set. So, one other thing I'd like to point out is that this game was actually published by Capcom. It's the only rhythm game they've ever done. And that means we got some Capcom crossovers, like Dr. Wily, which I play at every single event. So, you're not getting it today because we want to mix it up. So instead, we're going to do some Street Fighter. Same thing as they did with Cherno. We're gonna bait and switch.
Yeah, and talking about all those licenses, like there are quite a few Capcom pulls. Most of it is Street Fighter. I believe there's like 4 or 5 remixes, right, Jammitch?
Something in that range, yeah.
But there's also remixes of music from Monster Hunter, Ghosts and Goblins. There's even a couple of Ace Attorney songs. So yeah, it's a
shout outs to Kai in chat, who is my #1 Monster Hunter requester.
But yeah, it's a shame that this was the only game that music game that Capcom did, because that's an amazing library of material to pull from. But at least they, you know, shot their shot, so to say. Like, they actually did go for a bunch of different games for remixes. Like, they could have easily just grabbed a whole bunch of Mega Man and called it a day, but no, they went all through their catalog. Monster Hunter, Ace Attorney, what was I about to say? Oh, Biohazard, or Resident Evil. Yeah, just a lot of really good pulls and interesting decisions for what to remix and have in the game. Same can also be said for the artist base. Like, there are some heavy hitters from Bimani, like Naoki, because, you know, at the helm. There's also quite a few songs from Slake and Tash. But a lot of relatively, at the time, newer artists, like Mauzin, KO3, Cranky, artists that normally weren't in Bimani or had only gotten a couple songs. Just, again, super solid library.
Here we got a long pivot. Underflick is so cool.
I was about to say, the way it accents those chords, the stings in the background, love that.
Slope the crossover.
Oh, hey, look at that, another FC.
Kind of cool, easy peasy.
I mean, that seems to keep happening. It's almost like you're decent at this game, Jammitch.
We had a pretty nice number of supers on that one as well, if I may say so. Alright, so Shinji mentioned earlier that the sound director of this game was Naoki Maeda. We haven't really heard a song by him yet, And here's another thing where I kind of bait and switch you, because there is if you're used to DDR, you know it's like Speed Rave is B4U kind of stuff. There's a song like that on here. So I'm gonna change that up as well, and we're gonna get some Naoki trance instead, and we're gonna do Deep Purple.
Yeah, so folks that are used to the Eurobeat plus guitar plus rap in the breakdown, no, this is more Naoki Underground.
That's audio. I'm wearing the shirt. I am wearing the shirt. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm wearing the shirt. Wait, Fox, if I'd actually like to hear a little bit about Trans Lifeline if you got a moment. Those rolls there, the crossover is really difficult.
I was about to say, if the bass was a little more aggressive on this, that rolling bass drum is almost Trans-like.
Alright, gonna take this moment just to let anybody who might just be joining us know that Festus Furs is raising money for Trans Lifeline. Festus Furs' Fall Fest is proud to once again raise money for Trans Lifeline. Trans Lifeline's hotline is a peer support service run by trans people for trans people and questioning callers. Their operators are located all over the United States and Canada and are all trans identified. If you are in crisis or just need someone to talk to, please visit translifeline.org/hotline to learn how you can connect.
Much obliged for that reminder, Fox, as to why we're all here and doing awesome things. And again, thank you all for being here. Hope everyone's been enjoying Fastest Furs in general, but yeah, I'll be biased and say, hope you're enjoying the showcase, especially right now, because this is Black Lotus by Malzahn, one of my favorite artists in the music game scene right now. In fact, they just put out a new album on Bandcamp today. Amazing drum and bass or heavy trance and kind of a drum and bass adjacent material.
The song has some exceedingly difficult polyrhythms with these flicks involved.
Not surprised. I know that's usually my downfall when I'm trying the harder charts for Malzahn and 2DX is once the melody really kicks in, juggling that and all of the percussion.
Coming up on the Circle of Doom. Got it.
Excellent! Yeah, as funny as that circle might be visually, actually executing it with the, frame-by-frame accuracy Crossbeats want you to, another story entirely. Amazing stuff, Jammitch.
Boom. That's not a full combo at all.
Ooh.
That's a hard one.
Yeah, I was about to say, we might have been making that joke of, the FCs keep coming up. No, really, congratulations, that's amazing.
Yeah, those hand switches at the end, those are tricky.
Thank you so much for the hype as well, chat. Appreciate it.
I got another BPM changing song. I got Pinky Magic by Junk. Just another outstanding chart. This one uses the speed change gimmick really well. And again, just another awesome happy hardcore song. So let's get some jam emotes.
And again, just a reminder about that speed change. So for most music games, you're usually going for notes that are scrolling towards a target. In this case, it's the appearance of the note preview. You know, essentially how quickly the notes are flying in that you need to then hit them. So once we see that change in BPM, we're going to suddenly see the that preview become much slower, and then it's going to jump back up.
Yeah, I want to see the note and immediately react to it. I don't want to be thinking about it.
All right, jumping in real quick, we got a donation from Moonblaze Wolf's $14 saying, shout out to our amazingly talented rhythm block runners. We also have, I'm gonna butcher this word here, this name, Synasthete? I'm so sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that. Coming up later tonight for a late night dose of music gaming. If anybody wants to correct me on how to pronounce that, I will fix that. But thank you, Moonblaze Wolf. Also, Jason LaRose, once again, $32 donation vibing to this Crossbeats showcase.
Thank you all so much. Again, Trans Lifeline is an amazing cause to be supporting. And I remember discussing about possibly hitting 2,500. Y'all are getting closer. I've got faith in you. I've changed my stance. I'm no longer going to try to be, the bad cop in this relationship. Plus, cops are bad. That's a whole nother discussion. Again, thank you all for donating if you're able. And thank you for being here. Again, this would not be as hype as it is without folks spreading the word, being here, bopping and vibing and chat, and otherwise doing the wonderful things y'all are doing. Thank you so much, everybody.
Personally, I think we can do it. I think they can hit 2,500 before Jammitch is all finished jamming for the night.
I do too, but going to have to wait and see. But I've got faith in you, chat.
Scheduling conflict. If this game had conflict, we'd be making a really bad joke right now, but unfortunately it doesn't. So, I wonder if anyone in chat can tell me what those last three songs all had in common.
I know.
Well, I know, I told you. Don't spoil it. We will give you guys one song to get that sorted out. Guys, girls, and NBCals. And let's move on to the hard stuff block, as if we haven't been playing hard stuff already, but got a couple of credits here dedicated to some of the harder stuff.
And this is why I said earlier we got through the trickier stuff, not harder stuff.
So Jammitch, a longtime artist in BMS, which is basically the Beatmania simulator, where they do a lot of original music, has started getting songs on 4Pay rhythm games.
Yeah, so if you're familiar with Dance Dance Revolution and how that has Step Mania, BMS is kind of the equivalent for 2DX. And as Jammitch mentioned, for years, the BMS community, in addition to making original charts, also has been making original music. In fact, for folks that are debating getting into 2DX and similar kind of a keyboard or keyboarding music games like 2DX, DJ Max, O2 Jam, I highly encourage that they check out BMS, because not only is it quite literally free, literally an entirely different library of music than you'll find in the games, and it's wonderful. And yeah, Jammitch is a BMS veteran. I don't play BMS myself, and even I know his name. Absolute legend in the community. Ooh. So we have an interesting guess on that last block from Kinda Nerdy Housewife. Were they all trans artists?
I do not believe there are any out trans artists who have music in this game, to my knowledge, unfortunately.
Also, looks like we may have just crossed the 2,400 mark. I could be mistaken on that.
You are not mistaken. We just got a $35 donation from Anonymous. Deer antlers are the fastest growing tissue on Earth, they say. Thank you, Anonymous, for the $35 donation.
Thank you very much. And yeah, can we get some hype in chat for 2,400? Look at what you all did.
So yeah, the mystery block, we have Deep Purple, Black Lotus, and Pinky Magic. So it was a secret color block.
Now there are a couple other color songs we could have snuck in there, right?
Yep, we had Red Heart, we had Rhapsody in Blue, or Blue Destiny Blue. But we just focused on those three. Okay, another BPM changing song, QLWA, by Topazolite, who is known for extremely hectic Japanese hardcore, and this song really is no exception.
I was gonna say, like, I do like my songs a bit more on the frenetic side, because usually there's more stuff in them from a note chart and play along standpoint, but yeah, coin flip for me that sometimes T-Paz is a bit too frenetic. Although you wouldn't think it from the front half of this song, the 150 BPM, kind of chill. And then yeah, T-Paz remembers it's a T-Paz song about halfway through.
It's only chill for T-Paz.
Yeah, that's a pretty important disclaimer to make. It's definitely got T-Paz's sense of sass, that's for sure. I imagine the chart has it as well, in addition to the music.
I get that speed changing if I miss some notes.
Whew. Yeah, that second half of that song just really more on brand for what T-Paz usually does. But yeah, sass, Jason, is usually the word I like to think of, just because that very briefly sums it up without being rude. And as some folks in chat are pointing out, yeah, only 100 more to go for 2,500. I've got faith in all of y'all. And speaking of X amount to go, we are now actually at that 20-minute mark. Sorry for that false alarm earlier, Jammitch. Yeah, as much as I might not be a huge fan of T-Paz, yeah, the drums at the end of that last song, Jason, were definitely chef's kiss. You were saying, Jammitch?
Yep, so now we've got some, if you're used to DDR or TX, you might know June for, again, more happy hardcore. So we got another prime example of that.
I was gonna say, happy hardcore with an amazing vocal line. Because yeah, for like happy hardcore, like that's usually more Ryu Star, but there's also a full-on vocal line that's really well written. Yeah, June, forwards and backwards. Heavily missed them in more recent games.
So hard to hit those chords.
Oof. Yeah, I was gonna say, they seem really, like, physically close. so many memories of like older 2DX and especially DDR of this kind of sound. Just wonderful stuff. Boy, that chart is unrelenting. Amazing play.
All right, got one more hard credit, and then we get to wrap it up with some vibes. So
I believe you said this next song was probably like the most chaotic of the showcase today?
I think it's the most chaotic. Well, if we exclude the level 99 boss song that isn't really any good, it's the most chaotic chart in the entire game.
And to be clear, is that both in terms of like the rhythms and sub-rhythms, or the chart patterns, or both?
Not just that. Just the song itself is also just extremely chaotic.
So again, folks, if you want to turn the volume up, but also take a look at the fireworks that Jammitch is trying to catch, now would be a good time to try to take a look at some of the visual silliness that's going on. Ooh, and I don't want to steal the thunder, but something might have just happened.
That could be.
You might be correct. We got Jason LaRose, $100, 2,500 hype. Thank you, Jason, for pushing us to $2,500.
Huge donation. But well, Jason, again, thank you so much. Jason wasn't alone. All of you did that. So get yourselves hyped up. You did this. Thank you so much, everybody. Yeah, exactly, Adalor. We did this. Thank you, everybody, so much. What a way to start off the weekend. I know that we're not getting much of a response from Jammitch because, yeah, game hard. Like, this chart honestly scares me a bit.
Oh, it scares you.
Yeah, as I was saying earlier in the stream, for a good chunk of it, like, even though I don't play this game, I can still visually follow along for the most part. Nope. Nope, at this point I'm starting to just literally let my eyes glaze over and just, you know, enjoy what I'm hearing, because, yeah, visually I cannot keep up.
You know, I'm just going to chime in and say that seeing all this amazing, you know, community fellowship coming together to raise money like this, and seeing just how awesome Jammitch has been rocking it, you know, I think I'm just going to throw in a donation myself, and I'm going to get us to 2,600.
Thank you so much, Fox. Very gracious of you.
Not doing that to toot a horn, just thought I'd be like, you know what? Let's push it through. Let's push it through.
So, more Naoki, overclock. This is an 86. This will be interesting.
And again, the difficulty is out of 100, but there's only a few songs, like 5-ish or so, that are 90 plus. But yeah, this is where we start to see the game just stop pulling punches and just hoping you keep up. As Crash McCloud in chat is saying 3K in one night, I think it's absolutely doable.
Watch this part coming up.
Oh, let's go even further right now. We just got a donation from JustSomeAndy23, $100. Did somebody say 2,500? Hype! Super excited to see yet another amazing Fastest First Fall Festival. Much love to all the runners, staff, and of course all of you for watching and supporting this amazing event. And never forget, trans rights are human rights. Thank you, Andy!
I didn't expect to say there's 100 train going, but leave it to chat to surprise you. Am I right? Thank you all so much.
100 train, 100 train, 100 train, 100 train.
And donation hype aside, even if you're not able to donate, you're still here. You're helping everyone have an amazing start to their weekend. You're helping celebrate the amazing work being put in by the staff here at this event, by runners like Jammitch doing incredible work. Again, I cannot believe Jammitch is just easily playing these charts as easily as he is. But again, you did this, folks. Whether you're donating, vibing, spreading the word, thank you. You are making a difference.
Oh, that's a chart. I have full comboed that. That's my single best score in the entire game. We didn't get it today, but we got a pretty good combo once we settled into it. Okay, last example of a hard song is Scott Joplin's The Entertainer. This is an 87. And if you're wondering, how could Scott Joplin's The Entertainer be one of the 10 hardest songs in the game? Well, you're about to get run over by an ice cream truck. So, enjoy.
Yeah, I was, when we were doing a tech run yesterday, I was like, wait, Entertainer as in like Scott Joplin? Oh, that can't be that bad. Famous last words. This chart is a menace. Oh, God, those flicks are so fast and so aggressive. In addition to all the other nonsense surrounding them. Oh, like on the one hand, amazing play Jammitch, but that is mean.
The big gulf between 86 and 87 somehow.
Gotta love difficulty ratings in music games, especially when you're at the upper tier and it's kind of the anything goes territory. Whose line is it? I was about to say, it's like, where the ratings are made up and your accuracy doesn't matter. Yep, that's one way to put it, Audio Coaster. Vroom vroom. Truck don't stop for nobody. Yep, pretty much.
We played this before, but now it's got more notes.
Oh, watch out. The fast is really coming in now. We got Beat Fizzle with $100 donation. Hundo Train! Hundo Train!
Thank you so much.
We
are now $200 away from $3,000. Oh my gosh, you guys, just like Shinji said, this is a team effort and you guys are bringing it. Once again, Friday night, rocking it. Love to see it.
So how much time we got left on the clock?
Right now we've got 10 minutes.
Okay. I'm gonna try to get us 5 more. We might run a minute over, but I think we can do it. Get some dubstep.
And I know that our absolutely wonderful host, Fox, he mentioned this earlier, but I'd also like to repeat it. Remember, 100 Train, that's a heck of a thing to hype up. Anything that you are able to donate, whether it's just literally $1 or $2, or if you're taking some of your energy to help spread the word on Tumblr, Twitter, or what other social media hell site of your choice. Again, you are making this event happen. You are making this success happen. Thank you, everyone.
Shinji, the chat is speed running the 3,000 roll, the 3,000 goal. We just got DVO XS $100. Someone say 100 Train. That's their comment. We are now at $2,900, 100 away from $3,000. Wow, look at this. Chat is speed running the 3,000 goal.
Absolutely amazing. Like, I know earlier we were joking about 3K before the end of the night. It might be 3K before the end of the showcase. Absolutely wonderful work, everybody. And again, on behalf of Trans Lifeline, thank you all so much. Oh, I love this song and chart. There's a couple instances where, for that kind of almost like, sounds like a insect flying around your head with the synth, with rapid back and forth flick notes to almost be like scratching on the screen. Again, so upset that this game didn't last longer because the charting in this is so thoughtfully well done. Like, yeah, this is super challenging stuff, but it's fun. A lot of other touchscreen games that came out at the time, yeah, sure, they were hard, but they didn't feel good to play. Crossbeats nailed that. Kind of like how Jammitch is nailing all of these incredibly difficult charts like they're nothing.
Let's mix it back up a little bit. We're gonna bring some, for lack of a better word, chibi metal with Metallical Parade.
Yeah, it's not quite Dempa metal, but yeah, it's definitely adjacent. Like, I never expected to be a fan of Dempa metal or chibi metal, but it is quite really bop around the room music.
Couple X coming up.
Oof. Yeah, I noticed something similar to that earlier in the song, where it was a flip rapidly followed all the attack note. It almost seems like your fingers just skipping along the screen to try and hit it accurately.
And that ends a little dead, so we lost the combo. Okay, moving right along. Gonna get a little more trance in before we go. We got Heartstrings by Nato.
I know someone earlier mentioned that it felt like they were listening to some older Armin van Buuren, but both with this track and some of the relatively recent tracks that Nato had in 2DX, fantastic reminders of why trance was the god of electronic music it was for as long as it was. Just an amazing genre, and Nato just walks the talk in terms of executing on it.
The hard part of the song, we did pretty well on it.
Love that 4 on the floor bass. So good. Masterclass work by Nato.
All right, I think we're gonna try to sneak in 2 more if my time is right.
Yeah, I defer to Fox on that.
Let me check into that for you guys real quick. About a minute? Alrighty.
We got 1 minute. We'll cut out 1 more. And we'll dive right into the wrap up.
So this is something totally original, right?
Holy crap!
Did we get it?
We just got a $500 donation from Anonymous.
Thank you so much, Anonymous.
500! So much for breaking that 3,000 mark. We're going for the moon.
Just straight through it. Anonymous, thank you so much.
So, I always end my streams with a thing I like to call an alternate conflagration, which is totally not at all ripped off from Shinji's Final Incandescence, which is the thing he ends his stream with, and they just both happen to be fire songs. So this is Pyromania. This is my favorite song in the game. Let's get some jam emotes in chat for this one.
Yeah, every 2DX stream I do, I always end with Last Burning, or, the Final Incandescence, as my friends and I have nicknamed it. And that's because a decade later, I'm still in love with that song. And very similarly, this song slaps. Yeah, I'm gonna wait until after the song for us to do outros, because, again, Pyromania is amazing.
Okay, and that's gonna do it for me for tonight. Thanks again, Fastest First, for having me, letting me show off this wonderful and unfortunately kind of dead game, but still love it. If you enjoyed this, I do this twice a week over at twitch.tv/Jammitch. Thanks Shinji for coming on commentary. Thanks shout outs to all the Crossbeats community who came by. Thanks everyone for the donations. That $500 donation at the last second. Thank you so much. Have a good rest of your night, everybody. I think that's it for me. Got anything to say, Shinji?
I was just going to say, thank you all so much. Again, whether you've been able to donate or not, you are making this weekend have a heck of a start. Echoing Jammitch, thank you so much for having us here, Fastest First, and having a wonderful weekend. And like I've said all through this showcase, if you do have questions, be it about this music game or any others, please don't hesitate to ask. Whether I'm streaming or even if I'm offline, hit me up on my socials. I'm on Twitch at Shinji16. I regularly stream music games, and helping folks get into it is a huge part of why I do all the silliness that I do. And again, Jammitch, you killed it tonight. Amazing play.